The Cure put out a new album, and it's so much more than music. It's put an actual dent in the universe. I've been waiting to make this video because it's deep. I've been thinking about it a lot. It covers a lot of heavy issues. So if you're uncomfortable with the feels, go find an iPhone review video and enjoy yourself, because this isn't it. The Cure released their first new album in 16 years, Tales of a Lost World, and it is a masterpiece, a modern masterpiece. Let's go over it. First, let's talk about the music itself, which in some ways is the least important part of all of this. 8 songs, usual Cure, lots of guitars, long intros, sweeping, ethereal, noisy in parts, just an absolute masterpiece when it comes to the music. The lyrics, deep, heady stuff. The album is basically about love, loss, wanting to belong. Did I say love? Maybe in some ways you can interpret it as hope as well. Just a magnificent, magnificent album. They also released a 3-hour concert at the Troxy in England. Masterpiece. He sounds exactly the same. Exactly the same. 35, 40 years after they first burst onto the scene. And Robert Smith sounds like a 17-year-old. Just an incredible concert. The album has now hit #1 worldwide. Just an absolute masterpiece. Now on to the important stuff, how it affected society. And I'm not overstating it at all when I say that there was a cultural shift. The first thing, social media. Threads, I don't know about Twitter, I'm not there. Facebook is your aunt. Threads absolutely exploded. Hundreds of thousands of posts by people talking about how moved to tears they were about this album. Millions of tweets about people crying, being honest, crying. Unbelievable. Now, why is that? What did it touch upon? So many things. The first, age. Robert Smith is 65 years old. He's been worried about death his whole life, and now he's actually old enough where it's a real possibility. One of the songs is about his brother dying, who he was very close with. He's mentioned that his brother taught him everything, and it had a big, big effect on him. And he's afraid of dying. You're afraid of dying. I'm afraid of dying. I'm 58 years old. I never thought about those things. Now I do. I think about dying, my legacy, the person I used to be, the person that I want to become, who I am now, my journey, my faith, all of that. I mean, such heady issues. And it really struck a chord with Gen X, older people, 40s, 60s, because we're all dealing with it. I mean, all you have to do is go on LinkedIn and see how many people have been fired or laid off, and they're terrified that they're never going to get a job ever again. And truthfully, they might be right. That might be it for them. We live in an ageist society. We always have. We've never valued our grandparents. We've never valued wisdom or age. It's always been the country for youth, right? America likes to, present itself as a youthful, strong country, fearless. But you know what? There are lots of old people in this country, and we're afraid. We're afraid economically. We're afraid socially. So many people alone. So many people divorced. I see so many posts about people giving up on dating or even trying to find love, and it's heartbreaking. And that's one of the issues that he touches upon, is love. It's the most important thing. And the fact that he himself is old, he's been with his wife for 35 years, Mary, Bob and Mary, huh? How perfect is that? It really just resonated with so many people. Those concepts of love, loneliness, togetherness, all of that. And he's such a pure artist, and that's the next thing. Authenticity. Authenticity is a word and concept that has been bastardized by YouTubers and content creators. They talk about being authentic. Well, what does that really even mean? Do they even know? Being authentic isn't trying to make videos or music for the algorithm. It's about being true to yourself, not being afraid to show your emotions in a pure and honest way. You know what I'm saying? When I say being true to yourself, I don't mean necessarily being satisfied. I mean about reflecting about who you are, who you were, your journey, who you would like to be, and expressing that in a sincere way, regardless of the consequences, regardless of what people think about you, regardless about the algorithm, if you will. We're so used to seeing content, TikTok content, YouTube content, how to game the algorithm, how to get viewers. Well, what happens if you just threw all that out the window and you didn't care about that, and you just spoke from your heart unabashedly in a pure way, saying exactly how you feel? Could you do that? That's the question. Could you do that? Well, Robert Smith has done it. And to hear his voice, which to me always sounds like he's on the brink of tears, is magical. We've been craving true authenticity. True authenticity. Not rage bait, not love bait, not being part of somebody's sales funnel, not trying to connect with a self-help guru, trying to sell you a book or a course or any of that. Music and culture has been in such a dire strait for these last few years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. Taylor Swift, God bless her, she's the closest we have to being authentic, and frankly, when you put her up next to Robert Smith, it seems so contrived and plastic and thought out. It's about, and again, I like Taylor, but it's almost as if authenticity is a marketing tool. And with Robert Smith and The Cure, it's just a way of life. It's just who they are. And for him to express it in such a masterful way about his fear, his age, his loss, his love, you can't help but feel connected to it. And that's what resonated with so many people on social media. It actually changed the course of social media itself. Social media, as we know, was supposed to bring us together, but did it ever? All it did was really show our division more than anything. People hating on this, hating on that. Again, gaming the algorithm, trying to get views, trying to get followers, all of that stuff. And what happened on Threads was actually beautiful. So many people coming together to talk about memories of their youth, losses they've experienced, hopes they have for the future, what The Cure, the band, means to them, what art means to them. It was like a cathartic release. America, and I guess the world, has been so scared. And we have all these pent-up emotions from economic forces and political forces, and we had no place to put these feelings. We were just stuffing them inside, and it was eating away at us. And now The Cure come out with this album so full of love and honesty that the dam just broke for so many people. And they were comfortable expressing their angst and expressing their fear and their hopes and their memories. And suddenly we had a place to put all of these feelings that were bottled up inside of us. And it was magnificent. I've been involved in social media since it was invented, and I've never seen anything like this. Such purity, such joy, such true connection. It's like everything that social media was promised to us came to fruition through Cure fans. I mean, it was magnificent. I don't know any other way to put it. I'm not known for being, super sappy, emotional, but as soon as this album came out and I saw the response, I knew that something was going on. Lots of things were going on. And again, it was just a place for us to put these feelings that we haven't had, a place to put. And everyone suddenly felt comfortable enough with each other to express ourselves. Fear, love, pain, hope, regret. These are all feelings that all of us have and yet are so reluctant and uncomfortable to talk about. And suddenly it was okay. It was okay to talk about those things. And it was beautiful. And that's what art can do. Art is about love. Art is about beauty at its core. No matter the medium, everything comes back to love, to loss, to fear, to the human condition, and what it means to be a human. And what it means to be a human is more than the algorithm. It's more than followers. It's more than putting up this facade that we have to in our day-to-day life, let alone social media. And he gave us the right. He gave us an exit ramp to be ourselves and to be honest with each other. And it was over our love for this band, our love for this music, our love for ourselves, for each other. I mean, how often can you really talk about that stuff, especially in a social media setting? It was just absolutely incredible and beautiful to be part of. That's why this album is so important. It's so important, and it did put a dent in the universe, and especially with this election coming up and all this economic uncertainty, people being laid off, everything being expensive, our lack of connection with each other, age. It just touched upon so many things that are important to being a human and things that we've pushed aside. Chasing sales, building a sales funnel, getting views, getting monetized, iPhones, AI. It all seems so petty and unimportant. It does. And that's what this album, and that's what the best of art demonstrates, is that all of that stuff is petty and is unimportant. It's fleeting. No one's going to remember the great sales guru, but they are going to remember Robert Smith. You're going to remember how you felt when that album came out, which is the same when the first Cure album or whatever your favorite band was at the time. That's what you're going to remember. That's what you're going to hold on to. That's what you're going to listen to and want to feel when you're feeling anxious or sad. You're not going to want a YouTuber or a TikToker bullshitting you about authenticity, something that is as far from their content as humanly possible. Art isn't content. Art is the human condition. And Robert Smith shined a light on it and made everybody else look so silly. I feel silly. I feel stupid. I've been watching TikTok videos. I feel like a fucking idiot. What a waste of time. So many more important things in the world, important concepts, things to think about, things to aspire to. Age, a number. Yes, I'm afraid of dying, but at the same time, I know that my best work and my best part of life could be in front of me. And that's what I hold on to. To think that, employers and society throws you away after 40 or 45 or whatever the number is, and The Cure at 65 come out with an absolute masterpiece. I mean, what more proof do you need? What more proof do you need? Whether you're 18 or 80, the future could be bright if you let it be. And you have to be true to yourself. And when I say true to yourself, that doesn't mean don't change. That doesn't mean stay the way you are, hold steadfast to all of your beliefs. Life is a journey. Life is full of lessons, whether it's heartbreak, falling in love, becoming rich, becoming poor, creating something beautiful, having writer's block. It's all part of the journey and a lesson. So when I say stay true to yourself, I don't mean don't change. I mean constantly look for the lessons, look for the change. How can you get better as a person? How can we get better as a society? The whole point to life is love and to hopefully leave the world just a little bit better than when you first came into it. If you can do that, you've won. And that's what it's really all about. So where do we go from here? What are the lessons we learned? Well, we touched upon a few of them. The lesson is be yourself, be true. Don't be afraid to care. Don't be afraid to love. Don't ever stop looking for love. And reach out to your fellow man. Don't be afraid to connect with people. Don't be afraid to support people. People don't have to lose for you to win. You dig? We're all in it together. And if we keep that sentiment, the world's going to grow with us as a society. The world can get better. I know things are horrible right now, but they don't have to be. It's ebb and flow. And if we learn and we share and we connect, the world can be a beautiful place. And you can't forget that no matter how tough things are. And I know they're tough. They're tough for me. Tough for everybody. They're tough for Robert. He's a multimillionaire rock star. And he's sad and he's scared. That's why he named the album Songs of a Lost World. Because it is a lost world. Things are different than the way they used to be. And yeah, it kind of feels like we're on a downward spiral on so many levels. But at the same time, we can change it. It's up to us. It's us. We're talking about us. Me, you, your neighbor, your family, your congregation, whoever it is. We're all in it together. And that's what I take away, and what I think the lesson is here, is that we can't give up on love. No matter how afraid we are of loss and the future, we can't give up on love and wanting to learn and wanting to grow and wanting to connect. So that's the big theme there. Now here's the other thing. Art in general, it's tough. It's tough to be an artist. I'm a puppeteer. Don't laugh. I'm a puppeteer, and it's hard. Millions of musicians out there, millions of writers and poets and painters and sculptors, all different types of arts, and it's really hard. You see so many of them on social media posting their work, saying how much they hate the promotional part of being an artist. And I'm the same way. I'm not self-promotional by nature. It's very difficult. I'd like to just do my puppet shows and put them out there. And most musicians are like that too. They're very uncomfortable talking about themselves and promoting themselves. So it's up to us to do it for them. If you see an artist lamenting on social media about not getting views or feeling that they're wasting their time, take 10 seconds and encourage them. Ask for a link to their music. Say that you're interested. Listen to their music. As much as we all love The Cure, they're not the only game in town. See, here's the thing. Right now, there's some 15-year-old kid, more than one, but some 15-year-old kid, whether it's in America, the Ukraine, Africa, Australia, somewhere. There's a bunch of kids who are sitting in their room, doodling, noodling on the guitar, writing. Maybe they're even picking up a puppet. Oh, let's not get crazy. But you know what I mean, right? And they feel lost and they feel uncomfortable. And they know they have something to say and they want to say it. And it's meaningful and it's important. And one of those kids, they're the next Robert Smith. They're the next Paul McCartney. They're the next whoever artist that you love and connect to. And we need to build a world where they feel comfortable crying in that room and laying out their emotions in whatever medium of choice that they're using. And we have to find them. We have to encourage them. That's how we grow. That's what happens when, God forbid, Robert Smith does die. We need people lined up to replace him. Art is important. Artists are important, and we need to support them. They're the best of society, the absolute best. Selfless, caring, emotional, quirky, weird, all of it. But those are the people who change the world. And if not the world, at least your mood or your outlook or your thoughts on the world. So I guess that's really what I wanted to say. That the Cure album and what the Cure represent is so much bigger than just music. It's a cultural shift if we allow it. If we get back to our humanity, good things can happen. And I certainly hope that that's the case because the world needs it. The world needs to get back on track and not be lost. Like Robert said, it doesn't have to be a lost world. We can have a found world. And I hope that that's what happens. Lauren Feldman, laurenfeldman.com.